Okay, on to the Caulfield Cup, the big occasion for Saturday, 2,400 metres. It is race 9 in your books if you're playing at home. Favourites and prices as of Thursday: Gold Trip $5, West Wind Blows $7, Solcombe $7 without a fight $7.50, Break Up at $9, and then a little jump out where we've got Montefilia and Valiant King on the same line of betting at $13. Who You Mount 15s, Francesco Guardi at $17, and the rest of the field after that. I just wanted to get old Francesco Guardi in there. Nick, what have you got for us, mate? What have you got for the Caulfield Cup this year's running, this year's edition? And then give us a tip, or maybe before you tip, give us all your futures tickets.
I haven't got any futures tickets. The only little futures bet I had something on a promo for Gold Trip to win all three: the Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate, Melbourne Cup, because I'm on him in the Cox Plate and I'm on him in the Melbourne Cup, and I thought, if I'm on him in those two and he starts favourite in the Caulfield Cup, I may as well have a little throw at all three. So
He'll cop a penalty though, won't he, if it wins a Caulfield Cup?
I don't know if he will, because he's already got 58.5. So he would have to be ultra impressive, I think, to cop a penalty in a Caulfield Cup. Maybe
they look after the top weights.
Yeah, maybe half a kilo, but like if he can win a Caulfield Cup and he's already carrying 58.5 and they give him half a kilo, I don't think that'll worry him on the first Tuesday in November. They just might not see what way he goes. So
they need to put one of those baby riders on him.
That's right.
Little baby rider. Little baby rider on it.
So, yeah, I do think Gold Trip's the horse to beat, but I'm going to give the punters a little bit of my value in the race, and that's Duke de Sessa, the stablemate to Gold Trip. He came over here with a bit of a boom. He was well backed in a Doncaster over 1,600 in his first Australian start back in, when was that, April. He ran pretty well there, and then his 2 runs this prep, 1,400 first up in a Memsey. I think we can just sort of forgive that. That was just a run, and then I thought his run in the Turnbull was outstanding.
It was good in Turnbull.
You know, it was the first time he'd been at 2,000 in Australia. Got out in the middle of the track, hit the line pretty nicely, and meets a lot of those runners better at the weights now. Through that run, and now this is the first time we see him at 1.5 miles, which is where all his form in Europe was. Kieran Maher and David Eustace are the masters at getting these horses staying, especially when they're those imports. And barrier 14 a little bit sticky. He might have to take his medicine, but Johnny Allen on board, nice low weight. I think he's the blowout in the race.
Duke de Sessa.
Yep.
Zamet, who you liking in the Caulfield Cup?
Surely they're not even that good of trainers.
This horse has got pretty top form. I think he's better chance than a $34 shot or whatever he is.
I think he's longer than that.
He might be. I think
he should be. He should be.
In fairness, should be.
Zamet, what do you like, mate?
I'm not going as wide as Nicholas, but I have found it a very competitive Caulfield Cup. I think it's an outstanding race this year, isn't it? It's a very good race. Very interesting betting race. Gold Trip. A few people still try and tell me the horse isn't 100% to start. Correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot scratch in a Group 1, can you? Just because you've decided not to run. You need a reason, don't you? You need a vet certificate. You need a serious track downgrade or upgrade, don't you? You can't just scratch. Group 1.
That's right. People are saying that if it's a good 4, they won't run. Well, what was the Turnbull? And
I don't think that allow that.
I don't think they would either. No. But also Kieran Maher on Wednesday last night after the barrier draw, he made it sound like it was all systems go. Like you wouldn't pay up to run. They've said that his feet are. The feet issues that he had 12 months ago, they're pretty confident that they're behind him. So that was probably the only thing that was stopping them from running on a good track this time last year. So,
I'm working off him being there. I'm working off them trying. There's no way they're running in this race just for a run because they don't need it, right? So they are genuinely dead set after the big 3 with this horse, and I don't blame them one bit. He's probably one of the few horses in the country who legitimately has a chance of knowing all 3. And can do it. He's drawn well enough. He's going to be a great chance. But I mean, somebody tell me I'm wrong, but how was West Wind Blows not as good, every bit as good, if not better, a run in the Turnbull? Jamie Spencer is the biggest cross against this horse, and that barrier has meant that there's only so much damage he can do. Now, I mean that, full respect to Spencer, who's a great jockey overseas, but
Didn't sound
ordinary
like
ride.
It really didn't
I don't
sound
think
like
he
it. It really didn't sound like it originally.
I just thought I went a bit too far that way. But,
Reel back a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But,
Today's show headline can be Zamet hates Spencer.
But hey, he can only do so much damage from barrier 2 now. That horse will just get a completely different run to what it had in the Turnbull, where it was just burning energy throughout the whole race, just non-stop, travelling out wide on a hot speed. Gold Trip is just out the back enjoying all of that damage being done and just has zoomed home as he does. And West Wind Blows had the audacity to keep kicking and held on very strong. I think everything else around him completely dropped out.
That was its first run in Australia, wasn't it?
It was,
Just first, yeah.
And remember, it wasn't so long ago we all swore black and blue that internationals dynamite their second run here. Remember that? Until they started to finally break that hoodoo and could win a big race their first go here. I just think he improves length. Some little query 2400, but I don't think enough to sway me away. Without a Fight, I mentioned on here before, he's one of my horses, and I've been waiting for this race ever since the winter for him.
Yeah.
I thought he was a fraction disappointing first up. I do not in any way, shape or form underestimate him, and I think he absolutely can win this race. But if I'm trying to split them, I think West Wind Blows, you just had to be taken by that run in the Turnbull. The internationals are so hard to beat here. I think it was the same old ownership as without a Fight as well, from memory. Same sire. They had two similar horses, but for me, West Wind Blows on top.
So, hey, boys, you both tipped overseas horse in this race. Obviously not the one that's going to win, but what do you think about Breakup then, coming from Japan?
You look at his SP profile, he's gone around like 100 to 1 in two or three of his last 5 starts, and I know that's against like Equinox, who's the world's highest rated horse, but I think my knock on him is that he's $10 over a mile and a half. I think he's sort of the horse that you have in the bet slip, watch him rattle home and run 4th or 5th and back him in the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, I think he's a Melbourne Cup horse more so than Caulfield Cup.
Yeah.
They can start big prices over there, Nick, in those big races.
Yeah.
And it's not as much of a guide as it would be here, I think. It's a fair call out, but I reckon they can get away with it a bit more. What I did notice was after running last there to Equinox, the horse that ran second to Equinox in that race, he's then come out and run third with it in second place at its next start. So, I mean, I think perhaps, it showed that maybe that run there was a bit of an aberration, and it's genuinely comparable to that next tier of horse up there. But I think more so the Melbourne Cup than for the Caulfield Cup with that horse.
Yeah.
Did you think, though, more so its best form might be behind it?
Yeah. It was an interesting horse, hey? Like, I love the Japanese when they come out here and they've been so successful, and Damien Lane drawn nicely in 5, got a nice weight, so like there's a lot of reasons to like it. But
yeah, it's only had 4 starts since its last win, Paddy. They don't race that often up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's past it. It's definitely not come across here with the same gloss that some of the Japanese do. Yeah, what does it do? It's going to lead here, do you think, or go forward? What's it going to do?
Go forward. I think it'll be handy. Yeah.
You just watch the market on these horses too. You just got to see if there's late money for it, or
we don't have the world pool in play, do we?
We do. I think.
We would, I think.
Maybe.
Yep.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch actually.
Chaps will come for it.
Japanese, you mean?
Yeah, we say the full words on podcast.
So it's okay to say the malts, but you can't say that. Is that right?
Yeah, chocolate, vanilla malt, chocolate malt. I love all of them. So what are you tipping in this one, Pat?
I've got to be tipping Gold Trip. It's going better this year going into it than it was last year. And obviously just got nosed on the post by Durston last year. It only has to carry a kilo more. Horses flying. I think looking at the Caulfield Cup doubles, probably a bridge too far. I don't know that Moonee Valley suits this horse at all. But obviously we're tipping on the Caulfield Cup here. And I can't see why it wouldn't. The exact same thing wouldn't happen as it did last start in the Turnbull, and where it just blouses this field at the end of the race and just goes straight past them at the end. There's no reason why it won't. It's racing mostly against the same horses. There's a few anomalies thrown in there, like the Japanese horse, Nick's horse. I don't know. I think it looks like a no-brainer, and it's paying $6.
I tend to have thought the same. I kind of thought, is there something I'm missing here? Like, even $6, I'm like, look, unless the bookies are a bit worried that one of these things could jump out of the ground, like this Japanese horse or something like that, and even that $9.50 about that. But yeah, I kind of, it seems a little bit too black and white for me with Gold Trip.
If Gold Trip gets beat, I'd be looking at something more shocking, like a Spirit Ridge leading all the way, and you just scratch your head and go, far out, what, the Metrop form is going to play a part this year. Like, just something weird like that, as opposed to one of these overseas raiders that's been running behind, or ran behind Gold Trip last start.
That's so guys, just humour me for a minute. 3 kilo weight pull and a hell of a different run in transit for West Wind Blows against Gold Trip for a 1.8 length defeat. You don't think that brings them somewhere close together?
Well, why is West Wind Blows going to get any easier run? Because
of where it's drawn. Yeah, it's gonna do nothing in the run. 3 kilo weight pull. It's had the run under its belt.
Unless it's last the fence and Jamie Spencer finds a way to slaughter it. But
absolutely.
Look, I did say after the Turnbull that I thought West Wind Blows was a horse to follow into the Melbourne Cup, not expecting Gold Trip to be there. So, like, I completely agree with you, Matt, that this horse is a genuine winning chance. Like, I'd have him in the top 4, no worries.
Yeah, I just think how do you get away from him if you and I don't blame you being keen on Gold Trip again. I know he's not going to surprise me if he wins. I can fully understand it, but there isn't a lot that he has to make up in 1.8 lengths, and he's got a few things on his side already before he starts with the 3 kilos in the barrier.
From me, which is a level down in regards to it's just not enough shown here. Like you couldn't sit there and have them so quick and say, from that one run. Yep, it looks like it's getting further. It's going to be fitter. There is the swing. I see all that stuff, but it's not enough for me to pencil Gold Trip.
Gold Trip did come from a long way off him and gave him windburn as well.
Absolutely, and that was the only run to go off that. And like what Zamet's saying is there's positives there.
Yeah, for sure.
There's positives there, and the Gold Trip could just be on his way to the Melbourne Cup. But
Zara off Melamon, no difference.
Nah.
What's the story there? What's
Zara didn't want to wait while they decided what they were going to do, which I don't blame him. It took him till the 11th hour to make up their mind when he had a great ride in without a fight, just waiting and basically cards about to be pulled out if he waited and held them off any longer. So he went with a bird in the hand versus 2 in the bush.
Just a little bit of breaking news on the Caulfield Cup too. The Racing Victoria have just come out with media release after the first round of vet inspections this morning.
What have they found?
Non-conformist, lame in the right hind, without a fight. Also presented with lameness in the left front. So Riggs and
Zara is filthy.
Zara could be
stay on.
Can I say
Take your time, guys?
Can I say something? There have been rumours in the last 24 to 48 hours. All is not well without a fight. That is really interesting. Really interesting. I think the rumour was something viral, or it wasn't 100%, but that's too much of a coincidence there. I wonder if all is not well, and that's a little bit more than just a bit of lameness.
Yeah, I wonder. Breakup, West Wind Blows, Akita Sushi, and Valiant King all inspected for the first time tomorrow. So, I suppose those couple of imports that were just mentioned.
Imagine why don't they just do them all at the same time and get it done? Why do they drag it out over a few days?
That's it. Do it on the Friday, and then it's
drama.
like if you
don't want to charge overtime.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Poor Mark's sitting there with his bird in his hand.
Pat with 2 in the bush.
Could have had 2 in the book.
Imagine if he's sitting there on the sidelines for the Caulfield Cup, and he obviously just retains that ride. Okay, is there in any world, and this is coming from what? Yeah,
I was thinking that.
Ask that into the mic.
Could they say, "All right, Ben, Mark's no longer got a ride in the race. You're off. Mark's back on Gold Trip."
Would they drop him at this stage?
I don't think they can.
Just like the jockey can't get off unless he gets approval from the owners once he locks in. For big races like this,
there's no way that could happen right now.
Oh, okay. What about a flip then? What if Mellon comes out and gives him a 15 out of 10 ride?
going
I reckon
40 to a
It
Cox
depends
Plate
what
and
the commitment is. So if they've said you're on Gold Trip for all the big races, then they can't.
Yet but Zara's just said, well, you guys are taking too long with Caulfield Cup. I'm jumping off. Like, surely that puts...
So clearly there was no booking. That's what it tells you. There's been
Why
no
would
booking.
they say...
in the Caulfield Cup anyway, I would say Mark's probably locked into Cox Plate Melbourne Cup, surely.
Surely they would have just said, oh, and just keep yourself free.
Yeah.
You know, the 2 weeks prior.
It'd be interesting to know what the how that all works, but
I'd love to see something big come out of that. Look, I'm locking in Gold Trip, the win. We might